Oh, F asterisk 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 no. The words barely left my lips as I stared at the message on my wife's phone. My hands shook, my heart slammed against my ribs, and my stomach twisted into something ugly. Last night was amazing, baby. Can't wait for round 2 at the office. Mike. Mike. Her boss. My breathing turned shallow. My mind raced. I heard the shower running in the bathroom, my wife, Olivia, completely unaware that in the next 60 seconds her world was about to shatter. I looked at the time. 5:43 a.m. So this was happening under my nose while I lay next to her every damn night. I scrolled. More texts. Some flirty. Some graphic. Some confirming everything I didn't want to believe. My fingers clenched around the phone. The shower stopped. I had 2 choices: put the phone down and pretend I never saw it, or confront her the second she stepped out. She walked out, towel wrapped around her body, steam rolling behind her, completely unbothered. She saw me. Then she saw her phone in my hand. Her face changed. She knew. And now she knew I knew. Her expression flickered just for a second, but I caught it. That split-second panic, like a thief caught red-handed. But Olivia was a pro. She recovered fast. "What are you doing with my phone?" she asked, voice steady, but I could hear the forced calm behind it. I held up the screen, Mike's filthy words glowing in the dim morning light. "Last night was amazing, baby. Can't wait for round 2 at the office." "Explain this," I said, my voice low and sharp. She rolled her eyes. Rolled her eyes. Like I was accusing her of leaving the cap off the toothpaste, not wrecking our marriage. "Oh my God, Adam," she sighed, tightening the towel around her chest. "You're seriously snooping through my messages now? You're seriously screwing your boss now?" I shot back. Her jaw clenched. "That's not what this is." I laughed, short and bitter. "Oh? Then what is it?" Because from where I'm standing, it looks like my wife's been too busy getting pounded in her office to remember she's married. "Jesus, Adam, lower your voice." She snatched the phone from my hand, fingers trembling just slightly. Not from guilt, from frustration that she got caught. I took a step forward. "No. I won't lower my voice. You owe me the truth, Olivia. Tell me, how long has this been going on?" She exhaled sharply, rubbing her forehead like I was giving her a headache. "It's not serious, okay? It was just a stupid mistake." "A mistake." I laughed again, louder this time. "A mistake? A mistake is forgetting our anniversary. A mistake is leaving the stove on. You don't accidentally sleep with someone, Olivia." She rolled her shoulders back, all pretense of remorse gone. "Look, I don't owe you a breakdown of my personal life, Adam." I actually staggered back a step. "Personal life? You're my wife. And? That doesn't mean you own me." I stared at her, trying to find any trace of the woman I married, the woman who used to look at me like I was her whole world. But that woman was gone. In her place was someone cold, distant, unapologetic. I swallowed, the anger and betrayal twisting together in my gut like a storm. "So what now, Olivia? You just expect me to be okay with this?" She shrugged, flipping through her phone, probably checking if Mike had texted again. "I don't know, Adam. Maybe we should take a break." A break. I felt like the floor had been ripped out from under me. I had spent years building a life with this woman. I had sacrificed, worked my ass off to give her everything. And now, after throwing our marriage in the trash, she had the audacity to act like she was doing me a favor? I clenched my fists, my nails digging into my palms. "You want a break?" My voice was eerily calm. "Fine. Let's make it permanent." She looked up at that, eyes narrowing. "What, you're just going to throw everything away over one mistake?" I shook my head, laughing in disbelief. "No, Olivia. You threw everything away, asterisk asterisk." She scoffed. "God, you're so dramatic." I wanted to scream. I wanted to smash something. But instead, I turned on my heel and walked out of the bedroom. If I stayed another second, I might have said something I'd regret. I needed air. I needed space. I needed to figure out what the hell I was going to do next. I stormed out of the bedroom, my mind a raging mess of fury, disbelief, and a sickening kind of clarity. The house, our house, suddenly felt too small, too claustrophobic, filled with the ghost of a marriage I thought was real. Behind me, Olivia didn't rush after me. She didn't beg, she didn't cry, nothing. Instead, she sighed, muttered something under her breath, and casually shut the bedroom door like this was just another minor argument. That pissed me off even more. I made it to the kitchen, gripping the counter so hard my knuckles turned white. My whole body felt like a live wire, pulsing with adrenaline. My brain kept replaying her words. "It's not serious. Maybe we should take a break." Like I was some needy husband clinging to a marriage she had already checked out of. I needed answers. And I sure as hell wasn't getting them from her half-assed lies. My eyes flicked to the one thing Olivia hadn't grabbed when she stormed off, her laptop. I hesitated. I wasn't that guy. I never wanted to be that guy. But she had already turned me into a fool. I wasn't going to be a blind fool. I opened it, my fingers moving on instinct, and clicked on her email. The inbox loaded. And there it was, the truth in black and white. Emails. Hundreds of them. Some work-related. But some. Mike, that thing you did in the office last week? I can't stop thinking about it. Mike, you're so much better than your husband. He doesn't know how lucky he is. Mike, did you delete our messages like I told you? I swallowed, while rising in my throat. It wasn't just physical. It was emotional. The way she used to talk to me, the teasing, the late-night messages, the excitement, she had been giving it all to him. And then I saw it. An email from yesterday. Mike, think he suspects? You could always pull the trigger and end things first. Then we won't have to sneak around. I heard a sharp noise before I realized it had come from me, from my fist slamming against the counter. My vision blurred with rage. She had been planning to leave me. She didn't want to fix anything. She didn't care about the years we had together, the vows we made. She had already decided. I heard footsteps. I turned and there she was, standing in the doorway, arms crossed over her chest, her expression caught between irritation and boredom. What the hell are you doing? She asked. I turned the laptop around so she could see the screen. Maybe you can tell me, I said, my voice like ice. She glanced at it. 1 second. 2. Then, slowly, she rolled her eyes. Again. Oh, for God's sake, Adam, she groaned, stepping forward and snapping the laptop shut. Now you're going through my emails? This is pathetic. Pathetic. I let out a hollow laugh, shaking my head. That's what you call this? Me finding out you've been cheating on me for months? That's pathetic. She sighed, pinching the bridge of her nose. You weren't supposed to find out like this. Like this. I repeated, my voice rising. So what was the plan, Olivia? Were you going to pack a bag and leave a note? Or were you going to wait until Mike got a big promotion so you could upgrade from side piece to trophy wife? Her eyes flared with anger. Don't you dare talk to me like that. Like what? Like the ungrateful, lying piece of sh. She threw her hands up. Oh my God, Adam, stop being such a damn victim. A sharp, stunned silence followed. My whole body went rigid. Excuse me. Her lips curled in frustration, like she was tired of me making a big deal out of her betrayal. You act like I ruined some perfect fairy tale marriage. Newsflash? You weren't some dream husband. I exhaled, barely holding on to my temper. So this is my fault now? She scoffed. I'm just saying, maybe if you weren't so obsessed with work, if you actually paid attention to me once in a while, I wouldn't have had to look elsewhere. The sheer audacity of it almost made me laugh. Almost? So now you're blaming me, I said slowly, my hands shaking from the effort it took not to put my fist through the nearest wall. You're saying I drove you to cheat. She didn't deny it. She just shrugged. I took a step forward, my jaw clenched so tight it hurt. Tell me something, Olivia. Were you ever going to tell me? Or was I just supposed to stay in the dark while you played house with your boss? She didn't answer right away. And that, more than anything, told me the truth. I shook my head. You really don't give a damn, do you? Something flickered in her expression, something I couldn't quite place. But then, just as fast, she smirked. Smirked. And when she spoke, her voice was calm, cruel, and final. I was actually going to tell you soon, she said. But honestly, I wasn't sure if I even cared enough to bother. That was it. That was the moment I knew. This marriage? It was already dead. And I had been the only idiot still trying to keep it alive. I don't remember making the conscious decision to move, but suddenly I was stalking across the room, fists clenched at my sides. Olivia held her ground. She didn't flinch. She just tilted her head, watching me with that smug little smirk, like this was all some kind of joke to her. Like she hadn't just ripped out my heart and stomped all over it. You weren't sure if you even cared enough to bother? I repeated, my voice barely above a whisper. She rolled her eyes again, like I was the one overreacting. Adam, you're acting like a psycho right now. She sighed, brushing past me toward the fridge. I swear, you make such a big deal out of everything. Maybe if you weren't so dramatic all the time, I wouldn't have it. I slammed my fist into the wall. Crack. Plaster split under my knuckles. The impact sent a jolt of pain up my arm, but I didn't care. The only thing I could feel was the boiling rage, the sheer, animalistic fury at the woman standing in front of me, cool as ice, pouring herself a glass of water like we were discussing what to have for dinner. She jumped at the sound but recovered quickly, fixing me with an unimpressed look. Real mature, Adam. I turned to face her, breathing heavily, chest rising and falling like I had just run 10 miles. You really don't feel anything, do you? I said. You don't feel guilty. You don't feel ashamed. You don't feel anything. She took a slow sip of her water, eyeing me over the rim. Why should I? It's not like you're some saint, Adam. I blinked. What the hell is that supposed to mean? She shrugged. You were never home. Always working late. Always putting everything else before me. And when you were here, you were so damn boring. What, did you think I was just going to sit around and rot? I let out a sharp, humorless laugh. Oh, so because I worked hard to provide for us, that gave you an excuse to screw your boss? She smirked, setting her glass down with a clink. If you were really providing, maybe I wouldn't have needed to look somewhere else. That did it. That was the moment something inside me snapped. You know what, Olivia? I said, stepping forward until we were inches apart. You want out? Fine. You can have your precious break. In fact, I'll do you one better. We're done. For the first time since this entire nightmare started, her smirk vanished. What? You heard me. My voice was calm. Too calm. I'm done. With you. With this marriage. With all of it. Her eyes narrowed, searching my face. You're just saying that because you're pissed. I shook my head, laughing darkly. No, Olivia. I should have said it years ago. She scoffed, crossing her arms. Yeah, sure. So what, you're gonna pack your bags and leave? I leaned in slightly, lowering my voice. No, sweetheart. You are. She blinked, caught off guard for the first time all morning. Excuse me. You heard me. You want to sleep around like some cheap office fling? Go ahead. But you're not doing it in my house. She let out a laugh, but there was a flicker of unease behind it. Your house? Last I checked, my name is on the lease too. Yeah? I cocked my head. And last I checked, it's my name on the bank statements. I pay for this house. I pay for everything. You? You sit around spending my money while you screw your boss in your lunch breaks. Her jaw tightened. You think you can just throw me out? I shrugged. I don't think. I know. She folded her arms, staring me down like she was waiting for me to back off. Like she thought I'd crack. But I didn't. Instead, I grabbed my phone, opened my banking app, and pulled up our joint account. The one she used for her little shopping sprees. The one I had been funding for years. And then, without breaking eye contact, I clicked transfer funds. Her phone dinged. Her face paled. She scrambled for her phone, unlocking it in a hurry. Her fingers flew across the screen, her breathing growing quicker with every second. Then her head snapped up, pure panic flashing in her eyes. What the hell did you just do? I smiled. Actually smiled. Emptied it. Her mouth fell open. You son of a... Careful, I said, tilting my head. Wouldn't want to ruin that sweet, innocent image you put on at work. Her nostrils flared. That was my money too. No, Olivia. I slipped my phone back into my pocket. It was mine. Just like this house is mine. Just like my time, my loyalty, and my love were mine. And guess what? You don't get any of it anymore. Her face twisted into something ugly. Something furious and desperate. You can't do this. I smiled again. Bigger this time. Oh, sweetheart. I already did. She let out a shaky breath, trying to regain control. Fine, she said, her voice sharp, clipped. You want to play dirty? You'll regret this. I let out a low chuckle. I already regret ever marrying you. She grabbed her glass of water and threw it at me. I dodged just in time. The glass shattered against the wall behind me, water dripping down onto the floor. And then, without another word, she turned on her heel and stormed out of the kitchen. I stood there, breathing heavily, watching the shattered glass glisten in the morning light. This was it. This was the end. Or at least, that's what I thought. Until 3 days later, when I won the lottery. 3 days. That's how long it took for the universe to throw me the biggest curveball of my life. I was still reeling from Olivia's betrayal, still trying to figure out how to move forward when I walked into the gas station on a random Thursday morning. I hadn't eaten much. Hadn't slept either. My mind was stuck in an endless loop of her voice, her smirk, her complete and utter lack of remorse. The only reason I even bought the damn ticket was because the guy in front of me was taking forever to pay and I was too pissed off to just stand there doing nothing. So I grabbed a scratch-off, paid in cash, walked back to my car. And then, sitting there in the parking lot with nothing but the sound of my own breathing and the crumpled remains of my broken marriage. I scratched. At first, I thought I was seeing things. My head was still too clouded with anger, my eyes blurry from exhaustion. But the numbers were there. Clear as day. I checked. Rechecked. Pulled up my phone and checked again. And then, as the realization slammed into me, I let out a laugh. A loud, hollow, almost deranged laugh that echoed inside my car. $1 million. After everything. After Olivia. After the lies. After the absolute train wreck that had been my life for the past 3 days. I had just become a millionaire. She came crawling back. It took exactly 2 hours for Olivia to find out. I don't know how. Maybe one of our mutual friends saw me at the lottery office. Maybe she was stalking my accounts. Maybe the devil himself whispered in her ear. But 2 hours after I cashed in my ticket, I got a text. Olivia, hey. Can we talk? I stared at the screen, laughed again, then turned off my phone. I wasn't playing her games anymore. But Olivia? She didn't take being ignored well. That evening, just as I was pouring myself a celebratory drink, I heard the knock. I didn't answer. Then came the second knock. Louder this time. Then a third. And a fourth. And then, bang, bang, bang. Adam, open the damn door. I sighed, swirling the whiskey in my glass before taking a slow sip. Let her wait. Adam, I know you're in there. Of course she did. She always knew where to find me when she wanted something. I gave it another minute before finally walking over, yanking the door open. And there she was. The same woman who had looked me in the eyes 3 days ago and told me she wasn't sure if she even cared enough to leave me properly. The same woman who had scoffed at my pain, thrown a drink at me, and walked away without a second thought. Now she was standing in my doorway looking at me like a lovesick puppy. Hey, she breathed, flashing me a soft, nervous smile. Can we talk? I leaned against the doorframe, crossing my arms. Talk about what, Olivia? Her smile faltered, but only for a second. About us. About everything. I think we made a mistake. I let out a dry chuckle. We? She bit her lip, shifting on her feet. Yeah. I mean, I might have overreacted. I was just so stressed, and I felt like we were drifting apart and you cheated on me. She blinked, caught off guard. Adam, you cheated on me, Olivia. For months. And when I found out, you didn't apologize. You blamed me. You told me I was being dramatic. I let my words sink in, watching as her face turned red. And now suddenly you want to talk? Her lips pressed into a thin line. Then she sighed, reaching out to touch my arm. I took a step back. Her face twitched, but she recovered quickly. Listen, she said, trying to keep her voice soft. I miss you. I miss us. We've been through so much together, Adam. I don't want to throw that away. I tilted my head. You didn't seem to care about us when you were sneaking around with Mike. She swallowed. I was confused. Right? She took a deep breath, playing with the hem of her shirt like she was suddenly shy. I heard about, She smiled. About your win. That's amazing, Adam. I'm really happy for you. I smirked. There it was. She wasn't here because she missed me. She was here because she had just realized she had walked away from a millionaire. Yeah, I said, taking another sip of my drink. It is amazing. Her smile widened. So, maybe we could celebrate together? I was thinking we could, I laughed. Right in her face. Her smile dropped instantly. What's so funny? I leaned in slightly, lowering my voice just enough to make her uncomfortable. You, Olivia. You are hilarious. You walk out of my life like I'm nothing. Treat me like garbage. Cheat on me. And then, the second I come into money, suddenly you're here talking about us like you didn't just rip this marriage to shreds 3 days ago. She opened her mouth, but I cut her off. No, I don't think so. Her expression hardened. Adam, don't be ridiculous. You want money? I shrugged. Go ask Mike. Oh, wait. He's married, isn't he? That his wife wouldn't be too happy if she found out about you. Her face turned an ugly shade of red. You're being an ass. I grinned. Oh, now I'm the bad guy? You'll regret this, she spat, her voice shaking. You think money makes you untouchable? You'll be lonely and miserable without me. I raised my glass, smiling. I'll take my chances. She stood there, fists clenched at her sides, nostrils flaring. And then, just like before, she turned on her heel and stormed off. Only this time. I wasn't broken. I wasn't shattered. I was free. As Olivia stormed off into the night, I stood there, sipping my whiskey, watching her retreat like the pathetic opportunist she was. 3 days ago, her leaving had felt like a knife in my gut. Yeah? Now it felt like the sweetest victory I'd ever tasted. I shut the door, locked it, and exhaled. For the first time in years, my house didn't feel like a prison. It felt like mine. No more walking on eggshells. No more fake smiles. No more Olivia and her manipulative bull. Ding. My phone buzzed on the counter. I smirked, already knowing who it was before I even picked it up. Olivia, I'm sorry. Let's just talk, please. I rolled my eyes and tossed the phone onto the couch. Let her sweat. A new beginning? The next morning, I woke up feeling better than I had in months. No tension in my chest. No endless mind loops of what did I do wrong? Just peace. I made coffee. Sat on my porch. Watched the sun rise. And then I did something I hadn't done in years. I made a plan. I wasn't going to be the same guy Olivia had walked all over. I wasn't going to mope, drown myself in self-pity, or let my sudden wealth make me reckless. I was going to rebuild. First step? Lawyer up. Legal revenge. By noon, I was sitting across from the best divorce attorney in town, a woman named Lisa Carter. She was in her 40s, sharp as a blade, and had zero patience for nonsense. So, she said, flipping through my paperwork, "Your wife cheated, left you, then tried crawling back when you won the lottery?" I smirked. "That about sums it up." She shook her head. "Men like you keep me in business." I chuckled. Glad I could contribute. She snapped the folder shut. "Here's the deal, Adam. Olivia is entitled to nothing. She cheated, she walked out, and thankfully, you two don't have kids. We file now, make it clear you're keeping the house, and since you won the lottery after she left, she can't touch a cent of your winnings." I raised an eyebrow. "You sound like you enjoy this." She smiled, a wicked little grin. "Oh, I love taking down gold diggers. Damn. I like this woman." Olivia's meltdown. That evening, after officially filing for divorce, I got another message from Olivia. "Olivia, I made a mistake. Please, let's meet." I ignored it. Then, an hour later. "Olivia, you're really going to throw away everything we built?" I ignored that too. Then, like clockwork, the anger kicked in. "Olivia, you're a selfish piece of trash. After everything I did for you, you just throw me away like this." I laughed. Out loud. This woman was delusional. Then, just as I was about to block her, my doorbell rang. I already knew who it was. With a sigh, I walked over and pulled the door open. And there she was. Disheveled. Fuming. "You're really doing this," she snapped. I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. Doing what? Divorcing me. Freezing me out. Acting like I meant nothing. I gave her a slow, mocking nod. "Oh, you meant something, Olivia. You meant a great example of what I never want in my life again." Her jaw clenched. "You think you're so clever, don't you?" I smiled. "No, just finally using my brain." She scoffed. "You're a joke, Adam. That money is going to ruin you. You think you're better than me now, huh? Just wait. You'll be broke and alone, and when you come crawling back, I'll laugh in your face." I nodded slowly, pretending to consider it. Yeah. Except I grinned. "I'd rather set my money on fire than give you a single cent." Her face twisted into pure hatred. "You'll regret this," she hissed. I shrugged. "Funny. That's exactly what I used to think about marrying you." Slap. She smacked me across the face. Hard. For a second I just stood there, cheek stinging, staring at her. Then, without a word, I smiled. That pissed her off even more. "You're disgusting," she spat, voice shaking. "You think you won? This isn't over." I nodded. "Oh, it is. It really is." And then, before she could spew another word, I shut the door in her face. I heard her shriek in frustration. Heard her stomp off like a tantrum-throwing child. And I just stood there, smiling, rubbing my sore cheek. She was out of my life. For good. The final blow. A week later, I got a call from Lisa. "Good news," she said. "Divorce is moving forward. But it gets better." I raised an eyebrow. "Do tell." She chuckled. "Olivia just found out her little boss boyfriend's wife is divorcing him. And guess what? She's taking everything." I blinked. "Wait, so Mike is broke?" Lisa confirmed. "Completely, utterly broke. And guess who just lost her meal ticket?" I let out a slow, satisfied whistle. Karma was a beautiful thing. Olivia had traded loyalty for greed, and now? Now she had nothing. I hung up the phone, leaned back in my chair, and grinned. I was free. I was rich. And best of all, Olivia was suffering. And I didn't even have to lift a damn finger. I had one. For the first time in years, Olivia wasn't controlling my life, my emotions, or my future. She had played her little game and lost spectacularly. And the best part? I didn't even have to do anything. Karma did all the work. But I wasn't done yet. See, Olivia thought she had power over me. That I was the same weak, lovesick idiot who would keep forgiving her, keep trying to fix what was already broken. She had no idea who she was dealing with now. A special surprise. A week after I learned about Olivia's downfall, I ran into Mike's wife, Jessica. Now, let me be clear, I had never really spoken to Jessica before. I knew who she was, obviously. Small town. Everybody knows everybody. But I never had a reason to talk to her until now. She was sitting at a cafe, scrolling through her phone, looking exhausted. I walked over, cleared my throat. "Jessica?" She glanced up, eyes narrowing for a second before realization hit. "Adam, right?" I nodded. She sighed, setting her phone down. "Let me guess, you're here about Olivia and Mike." I smirked. "Actually, I'm here to thank you." Her eyebrows shot up. Excuse me. I chuckled. For divorcing him. For making sure he loses everything. You don't know how much I appreciate it. She snorted. Oh, trust me, it's been my pleasure. I pulled out the chair across from her. Mind if I sit? She gestured toward it. Go ahead. Misery loves company, right? I sat, ordered a coffee, and for the next hour, Jessica and I bonded over the absolute disaster that was our exes. Turns out Mike had been cheating on her for years. Olivia was just the latest in a long line of affairs. And Jessica? She wasn't stupid. She had been collecting evidence for months. Bank statements, texts, even a recording or two. And now? She was about to bleed him dry. I like this woman. The final nail in Olivia's coffin. Let me guess, Jessica said after a while, swirling the ice in her drink. Olivia tried crawling back once she found out you won the lottery? I laughed. Oh yeah. Showed up at my door with the fakest I miss you speech I've ever heard. Jessica smirked. Classic. Let me guess, when that didn't work, she threw a tantrum. Yup. Slapped me across the face, actually. She let out a low whistle. Damn. She really is a piece of work. Tell me about it. She leaned forward, eyes glinting with something mischievous. So, you want to have a little fun? I raised an eyebrow. What kind of fun? She grinned. The kind where we make Olivia's life even more miserable. I liked where this was going. A public humiliation. 2 days later, Jessica dropped a bomb on social media. A long, detailed expose about Mike's affairs, naming Olivia directly. Screenshots of messages. Bank transfers. Even a voicemail where Mike promised Olivia he'd leave Jessica soon, which obviously never happened. And since our town loved gossip, it spread like wildfire. Within hours, everyone knew. The comments were brutal. Wow, Olivia really thought she was going to be a rich man's wife, huh? LMAO. Karma hits hard. She deserves every bit of this. Mike is trash, but Olivia? She's a straight-up homewrecker. Hope she enjoys being broke. I sat back in my chair, scrolling through the chaos, grinning like an idiot. Then my phone buzzed. Olivia, what the hell did you do? I laughed. I didn't respond. Let her suffer. She finally broke. That night, there was another knock at my door. I opened it. And there she was, Olivia, completely falling apart. Her makeup was smudged. Her hair was a mess. And for the first time since this all started, she looked genuinely scared. Please, she whispered, voice shaking. Can we just talk? I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. Talk about what, Olivia? She swallowed. I messed up. I know that now. Her lip trembled. I have nothing left, Adam. Nothing. Mike dropped me the second his wife went public. I lost my job. My friends won't even look at me. I stared at her. And whose fault is that? She let out a choked sob. Please. Please don't hate me. I tilted my head, pretending to think. You know, Olivia, I spent years trying to make you happy. Trying to be a good husband. And you repaid me by treating me like garbage. By lying. By cheating. By throwing me away the second you thought you could do better. She shook her head. I wasn't thinking. I stepped forward, lowering my voice. And now? You're nothing. And I get to watch you drown in the mess you made. So no, Olivia, I don't hate you. I smiled. I just don't care anymore. Her breath hitched. She stared at me, truly realizing that I was gone. That I was never going to take her back. That she had lost. Forever. I nodded toward the door. You can leave now. For a second, I thought she might beg. Instead, she let out a broken little sob, turned and walked away. And as I watched her disappear into the night for the last time, I felt nothing but peace. She was gone. And I was finally free. The moment Olivia disappeared down my driveway, I exhaled a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. It was over. No more manipulation. No more lies. No more walking into my own house feeling like I was an intruder in my own life. Just me. And my $1 million lottery win. I locked the door, walked to my kitchen, and poured myself a drink. Then, I laughed. Loud. Uncontrollable. The kind of laugh that comes when you finally realize you won. Because I did. I won. Olivia had thought she was outsmarting me. She thought she'd have me wrapped around her finger, thought she could slither her way back into my life and sink her claws into my money. Instead, she lost everything. And I didn't have to lift a damn finger. The aftermath. Over the next few weeks, Olivia became a town joke. Jessica's social media post had done more damage than either of us had expected. It didn't just expose her, it made her untouchable. No one wanted to be associated with a cheating, gold-digging homewrecker. She lost her job. She had to move out of her fancy apartment because, surprise, surprise, Mike had been paying for it. And Mike? He was too busy dealing with his own divorce to care what happened to Olivia. The last I heard, she was crashing on some friend's couch, desperately trying to scrape together a new life. Did I feel bad? Not even a little. A fresh start. One afternoon, I found myself sitting at that same cafe where I had met Jessica a few weeks ago. This time, I wasn't thinking about the past. I was thinking about the future. I had money, freedom, a new lease on life. And for the first time in years, I wasn't wasting it on someone who didn't deserve me. As I sipped my coffee, my phone buzzed. A text from Jessica. Jessica, so, now that both our exes are out of the picture, what do you say we celebrate? I smirked. I had to admit Jessica was a badass. Strong. Smart. Not the kind of woman who'd ever put up with the kind of nonsense Olivia pulled. I typed back. Me, dinner? My treat. She responded immediately. Jessica, only if you let me pick the place. I have expensive taste. I laughed. Me, deal? The final goodbye. That night, as I got ready for dinner, I thought about Olivia one last time. She had spent years making me feel like I wasn't good enough. She had lied, cheated, manipulated. And now? She was just another lesson. A reminder of what I'd never allow in my life again. I glanced in the mirror, straightened my shirt, and smiled. I had one. And Olivia? She was nothing more than a bad memory.